Okay.
So I'm going to be looking at the slides and A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome everyone to another session of VOTP. And as all of you know, the full form of VOTP by now, it's Voice of the People. And Voice of the People was started after October the 7th. And, when we realized the importance of how important each and every one of us is in this whole, on this planet Earth, I would say. So the role of VOTP is to empower each and one of us, make us accountable to our own actions, as well as demand accountability from the leaders. And to be able to do this, we need to really know what is going on what's going on in the world. And as a part of that, we are going to have this talk today on Yemen. And let me just begin this conversation by mentioning the numbers. There are 19.5 million people in need. There are 18 million people who are facing crisis level hunger, with malnutrition rampant, among children. There are 4.5 million displaced persons, living with limited access to water and shelter and sanitation. And there's been a recent major cholera outbreak, and 50% of the hospitals are shut. So this is kind of the scenario in Yemen, and that is why we have chosen to talk on this particular topic, to find out what are the root causes, what's going on here, and who are the big players. Sister Farhana, if you could just press the present button on the top, it'll show you. It'll keep going through the slides. Yeah, Jazakallah. Perfect. Yeah. So we'll move on to the next slide now. So hence, so this is a huge impact. We're talking about not one life, two lives, three lives, talking about millions of lives, around 19.5 millions of people affected. So that is the scale of this problem. And this is a map of Yemen. If you want to take a look at this map, you will see Yemen is on the southern part of Saudi Arabia. The blue big blob which you're seeing is Saudi. And then you have Yemen, and the dark green just on top of Yemen is Oman. We do have UAE. We can see UAE on the map as well. So, and you see the Red Sea, and we have the important trade, small narrow passage between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. So just take a close look at the map, because this has a very, very geographically very, very strategic placement of this country called Yemen, and that plays a very, very big role in what is going on here. So so we'll move on to the next slide. So what are our objectives of our session? So the important objectives of a session is to first of all understand what's going on in this area, in this Middle East. We hear in the news, the Middle East crisis, the Middle East wars, instability in this region. So what is this all about? We want to kind of make ourselves aware before we start raising our voices and demanding accountability. Let's try to understand what we need to demand accountability about. So that's one important reason. The second one, what is the role of the imperial powers? By imperial powers, it's mainly the United States, and then and behind the United States, Israel is the main mind or the brain behind the imperial policies of the United States, especially since 1950. Then we want to understand what are the various human weaknesses. SubhanAllah, we invest so much of our energy at VOTP and FIT to understand who humans are, the human weaknesses. And this case study is going to be an excellent case study as to understand how these human weaknesses are one of the important reasons for this chaos in this area. Then, as we say, we always want to see what we can do about it. At VOTP, we just don't want to talk about things and walk away. We always want to get down to using this information and reflecting on whichever country we are, and see where our country, or our representatives, our leaders are placed in this world of geopolitics. And finally, we always want to get down to our own personal role in this entire bigger landscape of geopolitics in the globe. So these are some of the objectives which you want to keep in mind as we go through the presentation. Okay. So, firstly, let's kind of go to a little bit of history. When was Yemen, when was this country called Yemen, or when was a nation state called Yemen created? And this was created in 1990, the Yemen as we know right now. But before that, it was split into two parts. One is the northern Yemen and one was the southern Yemen. So the northern Yemen, it emerged from the Ottoman Empire. And in this area of northern Yemen is mainly occupied by Muslims of the Shia faith, and specifically of the Zaidi tradition. So from 1918, from then on, the leaders, the Imams of the Zaidi tradition, they were ruling the northern part of Yemen until 1962, when a military coup or an army general, took over this northern Yemen. And we will learn more about him as we go, because he plays a very, very, very important role in the formation of Yemen and in the geopolitical aspect. And the capital of this area is Sana'a. Okay, so Sana. So you probably hear in the news, the capital is Sana'a. The second, part was the southern part, and this was under the British Empire until 1967. And then, the people, they developed a communist country. So this part of Yemen, this is the only Arab state in which there was communism, and this was called the Democratic Republic of Yemen, the People's Democratic Republic of Yemen. And this is the in the entire Arabian Peninsula area, the nation states were all democratic and socialist, but this one was the one which is our kingdoms, as we know. But the only communist part was the southern Yemen. So these are two divisions already. So what I want you to, the point which you want to take away is these nation states which are formed are already forming from different groups of different kinds of people with different ideologies, different religious traditions. So that's how this country is getting formed, and this is one of the reasons for the tremendous amount of chaos and conflict in the land. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So this person, Ali Abdullah Saleh, is the military general who played a very, very important role, and he was the president of Yemen for a long time, for many years. And he, from 1978 all the way up to 1990. And in 1990, the northern Yemen and the southern Yemen, they both united and formed the current day Yemen. And Ali Abdullah Saleh played a very important role in, having diplomatic relations with the various groups of people and bringing about the united Yemen. And he is, known to be a very, very extremely corrupt person in the sense there was a lot of oil, so the government issuance of licenses to drill oil and then with the other and giving to other countries, he amassed a lot of money. And they say he has amassed 32 to 60 billion US dollars and has a lot of assets all over the world. So a lot of corruption in this one person. And after after Yemen united in 1990, he continued to be president until 2011. So he, military ruler and extreme power, has his own military men, exploited and amassed the tremendous amount of wealth of Yemen, and has hid in his own different countries. So that is Ali Abdullah Saleh. Okay, now we'll move on to the next slide. So then I think all of us have heard the Houthis. The Houthis, in the Israel-Palestine conflict, we have heard the Houthis tremendously. So let's see, when they, how do they rise and what role do they play in Yemen? So the Houthis, so as I already mentioned in the history, there was this northern part of Yemen, the North Yemen. There were the Zaidi tradition Muslims staying there, and they were not happy when Ali Abdullah Saleh took over the country. And so what they began initially, the youth programs and to develop the Muslims there in their own tradition. And then gradually what happened was they, became one of the members from the parliament under Abdullah Saleh. He came and joined, and his name was, we have it, the full name is here, Houthi. His name is Hussein Badruddin al-Houthi. So he kind of began to lead this movement and started organizing it, and this, in fact, became a military power. And they were not happy with the corruption of Ali Abdullah Saleh. So that was one thing which they were very, very upset about. And then what happened was after 9/11 happened, the United States wanted to partner with Abdullah Saleh and to help in the anti-terrorism aspects, and so they partnered with them. So again, that was the Houthis were not happy with that as well. They did not want US to start entering into Yemen. So US, because of this contract with the president, they started sending military, they started sending intelligence. They could define the terrorist groups in Yemen and take a part in this. Basically, there's infiltration of the US intelligence into Yemen, and that the Houthis did not like. So they were upset because of that as well. And then what happened was that in 2003, the United States, wanted Yemen's help against Saddam Hussein as well in the Iraq War. So that also they did not like. So in nutshell, the Houthis were not happy with the involvement of the U.S. government with within Yemen and within the region, and they wanted to go ahead and challenge his power. So they kind of formed groups, and then and then also so the Zaidi tradition is in the North Yemen, where and Houthis follow that tradition, and in their neighboring country, which is Saudi Arabia, the Wahhabi movement started. So, and the Wahhabi movement, and they started having the conflict again, the conflict between the Wahhabi movement and the Zaidi movement. This was another important reason why the Houthis wanted to come in power. And the other player which was in the same area is Iran. So the Saudi Arabia claims that Iran is the one who is sending the weapons and technology and intelligence to Houthis. So that's how Iran also comes into this play. So what happened was that by 2014, the Houthi government actually they fought and they took over President Saleh's government, and they captured Sana'a. So right now, if you see in the map, the current government in Yemen is the government by the Houthis. Okay. So let's move on to the next slide. Sorry. Yeah. So just, the takeaway point of for us, here is, subhanallah, within the Muslims, because of the different ideologies, the price which we end up paying is immense, and it just gave an opportunity for the United States to creep in, basically. So this is again just Iran's role, which I just mentioned. Strategic alliance. They're saying the weapons are coming. All the intelligence, and then you probably have heard the axis of resistance. Israel claims that the axis of resistance is Iran, Yemen, and Lebanon, right? They all, and even in Syria, they had some fractions. So this is the axis of resistance. Okay. So let's go on to the next slide. So now we're coming to the important the Operation Decisive Storm. So this was the one which caused this humongous humanitarian crisis in Yemen. And so I've kind of laid out the the various parties involved. Saudi is involved there, Iran is involved there, US is involved, and then we have the two groups within Yemen. The military group under the President Saleh and the Houthis. So what happened in 2014 was that when the Houthis took over the capital of Yemen, the Sana'a, the Saudi went into a panic mode. And the defense minister of Saudi Arabia at that time was none other than Mohammed bin Salman. And he freaked out, thinking that Iran and Yemen are going to counter it, not only in ideology but also in politically. And also Houthis were firing some weapons into the southern part of Saudi Arabia as well. So Saudi, what it did, it formed its group. It formed a coalition force. It went ahead and talked with countries. The United UAE remember, UAE is a very, very big player there. UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Jordan, Morocco, Egypt, and Sudan. So it formed this coalition force, and they wanted to go ahead and remove the Houthis from the country and bring back the old power. But they did not want to bring Abdullah Saleh back because he was very corrupt and he was not popular with the people. In fact, they wanted to bring another his vice president called President Hadi. So they what the Saudis said is that the President Hadi is one who asked us for help, and they in March of 2015 they went ahead and started bombarding Yemen with many weapons. So, and that's how the Operation Decisive Storm started, and this was with the backing of the United States. And United States helped them in multiple ways. And if we go on to the next slide, we will see the amount of weaponry which the United States got them. So staggering numbers here. So in the from 2015 when this war started, $64 billion worth of weaponry was bought by the United States. And Saudi Arabia is the largest buyer of weapons from the United States. And currently the dollar amount of weaponry which is going to be bought by Saudi from United States is $142 billion. So that is the U.S. military support. And United States is playing an indirect war. It is not directly attacking Yemen, but indirectly it is playing this important role. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. In addition to the weaponry, the intelligence support, the strategic planning, the logistics support, training of the personnel, all of that is also being done by the United States. And so the United States, it wants to, United States, and of course, you won't think of Israel behind them. United States and Israel, they want to have Saudi Arabia, one as their energy source. Secondly, they want to have good ties with them through the Abraham Accords, and they want to have they want to have Saudi on their side. But in addition to this, there are small pockets of the terrorist groups, ISIS and Al Qaeda in Yemen as well. So United States, kind of wants to have intelligence in Yemen. It wants to find out where they are working and eliminate them as well. So that's another reason why they are supporting all this in Yemen. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So yeah, before we go on to the casualties of this war, just and even in the previous lecture on Sudan, I had told that Netanyahu had mentioned that there are 7 countries which are the terror group in the Western in the Middle East, and those actually 7 countries, one is Iran, Iraq, Libya, then we have Yemen, we have Lebanon, Palestine is also included in one of them, Syria. So these are the 7 countries which Netanyahu has listed, and anytime he comes to the Congress, he has given presentations showing that these are the 7 countries, and these 7 countries are taken down, it will be peaceful in the Middle East area. So that is one thing I just wanted to mention that. Okay. So now with the casualties, the UN has reported, Saudi kept on, Saudi has kept on this war has been going on. We have been hearing the news of the tremendous amount of casualties, but not as much as the Gaza coverage for sure. But the death toll is 377,000 people have died in all. Direct civilian casualties, they have listed as 19,000, and around 2,300 are children. And another report says 15,000 plus civilians have been killed. So this is the number of people that have died in Yemen. Again, this has not got much highlight, of course, because US is supporting them, just like how we did in the Israel-Gaza war. But this never saw the light of the media. Let's move on to the next slide. But in addition to this, the civilian toll, the humanitarian crisis was immense. The Saudi Arabia actually blocked the ports. You have to understand that Yemen has a lot of coast. There's a lot of port and trade which is done in Yemen. So all that have been blocked. Food, medicines, all of that can come into Yemen, have been blocked by Saudi Arabia, and this led to this staggering hunger crises there. And mass displacement in Yemen, as we saw in the numbers below. 19 million people displaced from their home, and at the brink of malnourishment, cholera outbreaks there. So very, very pathetic sights. So we have, as Muslims, I think we have seen some demands for humanitarian charity collection for Yemen, but again, nothing compared to what we saw for Palestine. So just want to bring back, this never saw the headlines of the day. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. And again, I want to shed light on UAE, which is a very, very major player. In Sudan, we saw the important role which UAE was playing. So UAE, though a very, very small country, on the map, if you want to see, you should know where UAE is located. Very, very small country, but the immense political power, immense strategic planning going on in the administration there. And they initially were part of the coalition with Saudi, but later on they kind of split with them, and they started, getting forces in the southern part of Yemen to form a separate country altogether. So they are supporting rebels there, and they have this Southern Transition Council. They're supporting this group of rebels, or what do you want to call them, so that they start demanding to have separate country of southern Yemen. So they want to have their control there, and most importantly, the ports. It wants to have control of all the ports there. The small strait between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, that strait, 25% of all the world's shipping passes through that, mainly from Asia all the way to Europe. So that control is very, very important, and UAE is trying strategically, is planning to get control of those southern ports. So that's how it is. It is playing very, very important role. So again, a lot of strategic planning. It's strategic power in that area. Yeah, and UAE is a part of the Abraham Accords, which have been signed. So Israel, United States, UAE, Morocco, and Sudan. These are all forming one big coalition under the Abraham Accords. And they want Saudi to kind of sign the Abraham Accords as well, to kind of form this big coalition in the Middle East. Okay. So, Saudi did get, as I said, United Nations declared what Saudi did in that bombardment, and they were bombarding civilians, hospitals, and all of it. And they did get a bad, remarks from the United Nations regarding humanitarian crises. So they kind of, slowed down. They kind of slowed down at this time. So it's not completely finished. So March of 2022, the United Nations brokered this kind of non-exact treaty to kind of stop the active conflict. So from then, it's still burning. The embers are still there. It's not, the conflict is not gone, but it is not as brutal as it used to be before. And the other thing which helped probably in kind of de-escalating this conflict was China came and kind of resumed the diplomatic relationships between these Saudi and Iran. So that's kind of, I want to say a good thing that the people are trying to make diplomatic relations and trying to end this conflict mainly based on theology, based on who is in power. So these are the human weaknesses which really get exposed in this conflict. Yeah, you can move on to the next slide. Yeah, so it's kind of stalemate. Right now there's no war, there's no peace. Stalemate. But still, Saudi is still preventing the Houthis from becoming strong, in the sense it's affecting the trade and stuff. So it's not able to recover, and the people are still going through this humanitarian crises. So that is there. This is Biden there with the world leaders, trying to kind of get a, get kind of some kind of a stalemate, solution, but no definite solution. Again, I want to bring is no definite solution, no growth for the people. No, so that is still an ongoing issue. Yeah, go on to the next slide. Yeah. So basically, what is the situation of Yemen at this time? The situation of Yemen at this time, it is divided. It has three main groups now. One is the Houthi, which is mainly occupying the main big cities, the city of Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. So that's one group. The second group we have is the President Hadi. He has, with the help of the Saudi coalition and the United States weaponry, they have managed to get the eastern part, main cities, Aden, ADEN. So they have some control there. So that is there. And then you have the southern group of people getting formed who want southern Yemen separately. And this is mainly by the backing of UAE. So it's split in these three countries. So that's the current state of Yemen. Again, this fracture is not letting any progress, no relief to the local civilians there. Go on to the next slide. Yeah. So, so again, we want to understand what is the role of US. So US kind of wants to play kind of a dual role. It kind of wants to be the good guy, bringing in peace, being the UN, being the main leader of the UN. But at the same time, it really wants to keep its interests there. And again, the foreign policy of the United States has been very, very much influenced by Netanyahu, especially since 1970s, 1960s. So that is kind of the role they're playing. Yeah, so they're helping so they're playing behind the back in all the military operations. They are not criticizing the war crimes which the Saudi government did. Not as much, not in news, not in any headlines. And behind there, again, just like they did in the Israel-Palestine war, they were just supplying the weapons as well. So that's the double role which the United States is playing in this one. Okay, let's move to the next one. I think we just have, so the Red Sea. So the Red Sea is, subhanAllah, it's such a strategic point, as I already mentioned, and a lot of drama always going on. And we have heard this, since the Gaza war. So, the Houthi forces, they kind of said that they want to support Gaza, and they, were shooting missiles into Israel, and that was one very big thing. They were also capturing the ships which are going on to Israel. So they were still playing a role in this Israel Gaza conflict. And as a result of that, both United States and UK, they joined together and they started launching attacks on the Houthis as well. But with Oman, which is again a neighboring country, as I showed you on the map, they kind of finally brokered a deal with United States and Houthis. So it's currently since May of just this year, it's they are kind of they are having a peace treaty. So that is the situation there in the Red Sea. Yeah. So I think the next slide is the last one. Okay. So I think, yeah, so subhanAllah, such a beautiful country. The northern part of Yemen is full of mountains. You've seen this, and the initial slide you saw the architecture in Yemen, and in the Quran, the Sheba, this was the land which is mentioned in the Quran as well, and in the Hadith also you have mentioned about the people of Yemen as well. So beautiful land, fractured by different groups, and became a place where the external forces all jumped in, all the coalition forces with this Saudi, United States, UAE, all of them having a say in their matters, and that's kind of, and then lack of economic and development and trade. And that's currently the humanitarian crisis going on in this land. Yeah. So I think the next slide, I think maybe this is the last one. Yeah. So, yeah. So then, so the questions, for us, I think I would kind of want to ask the audience, and I kind of want to make it a little engaging, as to, what do you think are the reasons? Maybe list the reasons as to why you think this is happening, the root causes of such a mess in this place. So please share your thoughts, based on the background.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Sister Farhana.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, such a profound, and I really appreciate your hard work. This is first time I got a lot of information about Yemen. And the reason behind all this mess looks like, we are the culprits. Like as an ummah, we are in deep sleep and, divided in sects. Okay, हवा दी है ना काफी ज़्यादा शिया सुन्नी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, और मुसलमान स्टिल आर इन अ डीप स्लीप. उनको समझ ही नहीं आ रही कि किसका साथ देना है. अगर हम अपना देखें तो हौथीज मुझे नजर आते हैं ऑन द राइट साइड, बिकॉज they are fighting for for a cause. They are fighting for Gaza. कोई और नहीं लड़ रहा है, और वो despite of their limited resources and everything. And even I felt as a believer that Saudis and UAEs are more worse than Israelis. They are enemies in disguise. मुनाफिकीन जिसे हम कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि इजराइली नजर आ रहे हैं, वो हैं, व्हाट आर दे, वो नजर नहीं आ रहे हैं. दे आर बिहाइंड एवरीथिंग. इवन साउदीज यूज केमिकल वेपन्स ऑन आवर ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स. एंड आपको पता है कि इतना ज़्यादा क्राइसिस है कि वो कह रहे हैं, यूएनओ की भी रिपोर्ट है, वैसे भी आता है मीडिया में, कि अगर हमने उनकी हेल्प ना की तो इतना ज़्यादा क्राइसिस है कि उनकी जो न्यू जनरेशन कम्प्लीटली वाइप आउट हो जाएगी फ्रॉम दिस वर्ल्ड, क्योंकि इतना ज़्यादा पानी नहीं है मिल रहा. इवन गंदा पानी भी उनको नहीं मिल रहा पीने के लिए, यानी पानी मिल नहीं रहा. कोई मेडिसिन नहीं है. दे डोंट हैव एनी मेडिसिन, डोंट हैव एनीथिंग if they are sick. और ये सोचें जरा कि हम दवाई ना हो मेरे पास और मैं जरूरत हो तो क्या होगा. even they don't have water, even they don't have food. और इसमें उनका बहुत बड़ा रोल है, सऊदी और यूएई का बहुत बड़ा रोल है. मैं कहती हूँ हम छोड़ दें इल्जाम देना यूएसए को, इजराइल को. we are responsible for all these mess. अगर हम अपने आप को नहीं अकाउंटेबल करेंगे तो हम कैसे उसको ठीक करेंगे. सो पाकिस्तान ने तो कोई रोल प्ले ही नहीं करना ना, एज अ पाकिस्तानी आई एम स्पीकिंग. और सबसे बड़ा ये जो एक और अलमिया है, जो इस्लाम तो इस चीज़ को मानता ही नहीं है ना कि पाकिस्तानी है तो वो सऊदी है. हम एज उम्मा हमने राइज करना है. और ये जो हमें डिवाइड किया हुआ है नेशन स्टेट्स में, दैट इज टोटली अगेंस्ट अल्लाह सुब्हाना ताला एंड रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम. सबसे बड़ी बात. और यकीन करें कंप्लीटली मेस है. वी आर एट द बॉटम. अब पता नहीं इसके आगे क्या होना है. मैं कोई आई डोंट वांट टू डिसअपॉइंट पीपल, लेकिन मैं जो ये सुन रहे हैं, मैं कह रही हूँ कि उठ जाएं, प्लीज उठ जाएं, पहचाने दुश्मनों को, शिया सुन्नी लड़ाइयों से निकलें कोई शिया सुन्नी नहीं है, बस वी आर बिलीवर्स, और जो राइट उस पे है उसका साथ दें प्लीज। अल्लाह ताला आगे टॉकिंग कुरान इन कुरान अगेन एंड अगेन, और साइकोलॉजी बाप दादा के उस पे नहीं जाना है, नहीं जाना है। यू नीड टू थिंक according to yourself. You need to know yourself, need to know about all the your surroundings and what is happening in the world. और एक और अलमिया है सिस्टर फरहाना कि इतनी ज़्यादा तरबियत की गई है थ्रू like traditional मौलवीज और whatever you can call them religious people, कि पॉलिटिक्स को अलग कर दिया है, सेकुलरिज्म, यानी हम पॉलिटिक्स के बारे कुछ नहीं है। इस्लाम इज नॉट अ मजहब, इस्लाम इज अ दीन। तो पॉलिटिक्स इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इन इस्लाम। तो मेजोरिटी जो है वो तो कोई दे डोंट शो एनी इंटरेस्ट इन पॉलिटिक्स, दे डोंट शो एनीथिंग। उनको ये कहा गया है ओ तुमने एक कामयाब इंसान बनना है, पढ़ना है, कोई अच्छी जॉब या अच्छा बिजनेस, शादी करनी, बच्चे हों, बस दिस इज योर लाइफ। इस तरह तो जानवर भी रहते हैं ना, अब सर्वाइवल ऑफ द फिटेस्ट वो करते हैं और जो बस चले जाते हैं। तो वी आर नॉट एनिमल्स, वी आर अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ह्यूमन बीइंग्स एंड वी आर मुस्लिम्स, वी आर बिलीवर्स। तो आई विल अपील फ्रॉम दिस प्लेटफॉर्म, प्लीज वेक अप फ्रॉम द डीप स्लीप, प्लीज वेक अप और प्लीज इसमें से निकलें। सऊदी अरब ने सबसे ज्यादा जो पाकिस्तान में जो काम किया है ना, वो दे क्रिएटेड लाइक सेक्ट्स, हेट्रेड एंड एवरीथिंग। सेक्टेरियनिज्म को बहुत ज्यादा किया गया है। रीड हिस्ट्री, रीड हिस्ट्री, स्टडी। आपको जब तक हम पढ़ेंगे नहीं, वी कैन नॉट नो एनीथिंग। वी नीड टू स्टडी हिस्ट्री और अपना पढ़ें, देखें कौन है, हमने क्या करना है। वी आर एट वॉर, वी आर वॉर। समझें इस चीज को कि हम वॉर में, वॉर में क्या करते हैं, वॉर में फिर आपने हर लम्हा यानी अपने प्रिपेयर करना होता है। वी नीड टू प्रिपेयर अबाउट एवरीथिंग। यानी अगर हम नहीं उठे तो हिस्ट्री में हम भी इस तरह खत्म हो जाएंगे, कोई नामो निशान नहीं होगा। अल्लाह ताला विल रिप्लेस अस from this world, and Allah bring the people who will be better in iman and will be better in doing good deeds. Even people of Yemen, yeah, they are best in iman. Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam ने फरमाया कि best of iman, best of faith जो होगा people of Yemen में होगा। So
Yeah, subhanallah.
mashallah,
Yeah, I think this is the other. Yeah, I think we should reflect on this as well. Ki human weaknesses. I know, most of us here have been working on Find Your Truth. I would like, if I take a student who kind of reflect on the weaknesses on the personal level, individual level, पे क्या weaknesses हैं जो इसको लेकर आ रही हैं, and we want to shed light on that, and I think that's important as well. So if anyone, any FIT student want to reflect on that based on what you learned in FIT and what you're seeing on the ground, especially the psychology of the leaders, please share. You can even type it in the chat, what human weaknesses are causing this at individual
like
level.
are you talking about the corruption of the
Yeah,
in
individual
Yemen,
level
like
पे, yeah.
corruption बहुत ज्यादा
Yeah,
है,
individual
so
level.
that's why
Yeah.
they
Corruption is very big. Again, power dynamic. Yeah, they want power. Again, they lower self में है. They all, all in lower self, right?
yeah.
Not able to see the big purpose. Yeah.
And imperial powers always decide the like corrupt people, because in third world, especially in Middle East and all over the world, they always try to like give them power and everything to the corrupt elite, because they want to rule
Support.
and they are after their interest. So corruption is the most important cause, and lack of education, you can say. So
Purpose नहीं.
all these things.
Allah कौन है? Yeah, the same. The lack.
Yeah.
The concepts. If we, the basic concepts, which you're trying to, instill in FIT, they are not there at a mass level, especially the ones who are in power. So, subhanallah, that is very thing. Then the other, the other benefit of this lecture was, again, I want all of us to kind of reflect back on your own country, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's US, what role are you, our leaders of our country, the way we are playing, in this. That is, subhanallah, I think if you look at Pakistan, it's probably very similar what's happening there. The same story there too. Subhanallah. So anyone wants to share, if anyone is from Pakistan, you can share what similarities did you find with this conflict.
Sister Farhana, comments में देखेंगे chat में refer to that. Can you see the chat?
Yeah, I can see, yes. So yeah, we have a comment there, they are sold out Muslim countries. Yeah, love of money and power. Absolutely. That's exactly the weakness at a personal level, right? And against faith. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with the geographical boundaries that divide countries by borders or on map. That's true. The weakness, the individual weakness at the human level, really does not have anything to do with boundaries. It's mainly the character weakness we have. And if you see, there have been a problem in Middle East, and US is the most concerned about the issue. Yeah. So US has to be on the lead, and again, as I said, since 1970s, US foreign policy in the Middle East is dictated by Israel. So that's how it is. Yeah.
But we are, alhamdulillah, 58 countries as Muslim countries. So a little bit role Iran is playing to support Houthis. Like Houthis say that because they object. You already told us that the President Saleh was a corrupt man, and Houthis has some objections about that thing because they want a transparent government. So
Yeah.
Houthis are, what do you say? Can we say that they are on the right side?
I mean, subhanAllah, we don't know much about it. I mean, we don't know their entire, we can say on specific areas. So on this issue, on this particular thing, what they're doing, I think we can say that. But in general, we have to really read up, understand what their ideology is, and say, are they thinking in terms of Muslim unity? Are they thinking more of the ideology unity? I don't have much knowledge on that. But especially on the aspect of Palestine, they've been on the right side. We can say that much for sure. Yeah.
What can we do?
One of the things that we don't have a leader even rising now. Let's say this. What are you doing, Muslim countries? We don't even have one person who stands out and says, let's all combine and do the right thing for the ummah. Let's be an ummah. Let's not be different countries in greed and seeking power and trying to make the other one less or kill children and get land. It's there's no one person. And when I look at that, I feel, we as mothers didn't do it right. Because whoever is in power, whoever is leading the country, we just didn't give them the right values.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's where the individual role comes in, right? As moms, if we can raise a generation as mothers, with kids who have right, values and not falling this petty game of money and power, and just being scared of who's attacking me, and so they are just playing the petty game of life. When the real game, with the shayateen and the evil forces, and we are not playing the big game. That purpose bhi nahi hai na. I don't think we are instilling that purpose in our kids. And when generations pass by, that's not done. This is what is the result.
Sadly, in Pakistan, majority of people don't know our real purpose, preparation for akhirah. So, जब preparation for akhirah purpose नहीं होती, तो फिर the materialistic world becomes the focus, and then these things happens.
Yes, bilkul. Bilkul. We have Sister Javeria who, added for us the human weaknesses. One is the detachment from the Quran and the Sunnah. That's exactly what you, Sister Shama, said right now, lack of the purpose. And especially no idea of what the mission is of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then cheating at all levels. Once we don't have that purpose, then cheating follows. Cheating and playing the petty games of mere paas power, aapke paas, that is, you should not have that. And for that, doing everything, including cheating and the love of dunya, absolutely. And then and education is on the peak, but morality is declining, absolutely correct. The character. Yes. Education for the skills and the development to get that power or to get that material or to get that piece of land, that kind of education, or to use that particular weapon, that kind of education. But the morality part of education is totally declining. Absolutely. I think you noted it very well. Jazakallah, Sister Javeria, for putting it down. Yeah. Yeah, subhanallah. So our generation and we as moms got to cut out a big work in front of us.
Sister Farhana, what kind of steps can we take in this regard to create awareness about Yemen, new generation, and what should I do? What should we do, like, to support them? Should we send them like money or resources? How can we help them?
On the ground, you mean specifically for Yemen, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some charities are working there on ground, and that is subhanallah. So out of this 19 million people who are displaced, or they most of them are dependent, just surviving just from those charities. Apparently, that's what the data was, because they have no source of food, no trade, nothing going on there. It's like a if you want economic depression or that kind of country it is.
Like in Canada, we have Islamic
That's
Relief.
a bad,
We send sometimes
Mhm.
Islamic Relief Canada. We send sometimes like bunny sometimes, but not oftenly. So we need to like be united, need to get united, and maybe some funding or something, or some organization should start something to support. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they are in deep pain and deep suffering, and we are not doing anything to save them.
Yes. These organizations are there, the humanity, Islamic relief, they're a lot on the ground. So I think we should support them. That will be one part to help, anyone who's oppressed and who's in difficulty, the civilians. I think that is one part. And the second part will be, creating this awareness of what's going on in the world. And as moms and as women, developing this character in the next generation. If we can bring up a generation who is on the right purpose and the character, then inshallah they will be coming in power and will stop this craziness.
Yemen brothers and sisters need urgent help. So what should we do? Like we can send only money, or through different organs, like Islamic Relief Canada is working on it. So
many of them they have people on ground. These are
we need collective effort. Otherwise, it doesn't. People are working, but they are very low in numbers. So how can we make a movement in this regard?
Yeah, we can spread awareness. Ramadan is also coming, right? So we can actually make sure we bring this and Yemen. इसका भी हम लोग we can create that movements as well. And donate to these big already जो organization come करिए ना उनको वही side पे directly जाके donate करें. We can just facilitate that. इसकी awareness फैला के. Yeah, because I'm not sure how many people know this about Sudan and Yemen. These two countries. It's very bad. In addition to Gaza, of course. That is, at least everyone knows it is. Yeah. Inshallah, I mean, as I said, we have to start speaking up in any circles, and every time you meet group of friends or anything, just talk, learn. And these slides are, are public slides. Anyone can use it and pull it up and share, or just research and talk to anyone and everyone, kids, and youth, and anywhere and everywhere. We got to do that.
Yeah, I think it's
First
very
step,
key.
awareness.
We get the eyes open now. It's just going on and on. I mean, this is just one area. They're too powerful. All of them are together, and every area is at risk. It's not going to stop. I mean, you can help a few people. It needs a major strategy change. Don't you think, Sister Farhana? We need to really wake up. We need to change the education system. We need to get, the religious organization playing their part. We do need to have the mothers actually building communities and character. It needs to be
Yeah.
people saying, what are you doing as political leaders? We don't want this happening. Why doesn't Saudi students and universities, why aren't they making a noise? What's wrong?
Because they are all focused on their personal lives,
Yeah,
personal gains.
yeah.
That's
And
why.
that's because, that's also made, um, you take away human rights from people, basic rights. They can't think about Yemen. They can't think about the next city, the next neighborhood. They are so immersed in feeding their own family and protecting it from the weather and protecting it from illness. This is also planned. This is planned in every country to
Yeah,
make it come to that state.
because
But
they don't feel any empathy. They don't feel any empathy.
yeah, they
And
can't because they've got so many of their own problems, and those are created by these people in power, so that we don't rise. You
the
know?
quality of a
Yes.
human being is empathy, compassion, and sadly, we don't have, as an ummah, we don't have. Our generation, new generation, don't have any compassion or empathy. I'm not saying 100%, but majority of them don't have. So need to work on it day and night. Then we can make a difference if we are united.
Mm. Yeah,
So
subhanallah. And UAE actually, it wants to, show the glitter and keep attracting everyone to, to the glitter. So then that's, as Faida said, that's a planned strategy. Everyone has to be so involved in getting to that glitter that they will not have time for anything else. Yeah.
and no one is coming outside like to make an effort, or it's happening on the like small levels, like you are doing FYT, but we need a united, a bigger effort, like to make a difference.
Yeah. And I think, Sister Shama, we need to learn to unite. We don't even unite on little
Yeah,
things.
we're not united.
We are not united, and that's why
Even
uh,
I felt in Pakistan people hate with each other, like Shia hates Sunnis Shia Shias, and I feel so much pain. Like, we are believers, doesn't matter who we belong to, which school of thought we are. Our purpose is one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why we are divided? And the main thing is they don't know themselves. Like, knowing yourself is the most important thing. So
Yeah.
they are only following their like forefathers. Like Sunnis are following their forefathers, Shias are following their forefathers, and more majority of the people usually they follow their forefathers or for their. So change happens when you start to think, start to know yourself, then change
Yeah.
starts to happen.
Yeah. That's why
So
Sister Faida started to find your truth. The first
yeah,
first step.
alhamdulillah,
First step.
first step.
Yeah,
Or
because
may Allah
see,
subhanahu wa ta'ala put Barakah, I keep praying all the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in this cause, and inshallah, it will make a difference, inshallah.
Sister Hanifa, you wanted to say something?
Jazakallah khairan for the forum. May Allah bless you all who, inshallah, whoever is striving. One thing I feel is that if we know what happened with the Christians, how 30 years war, and we start drumming it around our families, our first from our families, it's going to spread. And ask each other while we are drumming that is this what we want amongst us, or we want to speak Islam, or we want to proclaim Islam. Unless we have forming an agenda and working on it, inshallah zawajal khair, inshallah zawajal coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of what our efforts are. We are GP, we're just beginning the awareness, at this time. Yeah. And this needs to...
Even the groups we are creating in FIT on the cultural shift, and United for Self-Mastery, we lack being united. This is a disease we've got. We only think about ourselves. That needs to go. Allah Ta'ala has put in the fitrah. It's not fitrah to just think about yourself. I have to care for others. It's just a normal thing. It's a natural thing. So we create these groups and we are learning again to unite because we don't know it. And unless we unite, we can't do these big things. We've got so much we've learned today from Sister Farhana's talk, and yet we all feel helpless. We are helpless. We want to do something, we can't do it. Why? Because we can't even unite in our own homes, in our own neighborhoods, in our own little towns. And we've got to start there. If we want to see change across our country or in other countries, it's got to start with uniting. That's the disunity is the germ. It's a virus, and it's spread very far. So whatever you do, it's the unity. You have to see, am I united? Am I just thinking about myself? Am I just, am I caring for others? Do others matter to me? Allah Ta'ala is a provider. We don't have to worry about what we get. We just don't have to worry about it. He's the provider. We work hard. We do what is right. He decides how much we get and how much we don't get. Isn't that right? What do you think?
Yeah, true. It's
We
true.
really do need to focus on unity. The cultural group is done for that. As you said, Sister Shema, the people are following their ancestors, right?
Yeah.
They're following their ancestors. The cultural shift program is there to bring it back. And we have to bring it back because nobody else is going to do it. We're going to do it. You have to point the finger at what am I doing? What am I doing today? What did I do today? To bring unity, to bring back, the way of Allah Ta'ala, the way He created us, the fitrah, the way the messengers, prophets, all have been an example for us. What am I doing towards bringing that back?
So true indeed. Because as an ummah, as believers, we have the most important responsibility to lead this world. And where we are, we are in a deep sleep, majority of us. And we are running after our own gains, our own interests, like animals. और इस पे बहुत ज्यादा काम हुआ है सदियों से, यानी इस पे to think about only yourself. बस अपना आप सोचो, अपना देखो, दूसरों को छोड़ो. So we need to work on it to think about Ummah,
I think,
about others.
Alhamdulillah, Sister Shama, you are working on it. There are a lot of people starting to work on it. You know, VRTP is growing, the Cultural Shift Program is growing, FIT is growing. You know, lots of good work is happening. So let's look at the positive thing now and give it
Sure.
more energy, give it more power, so that we can impact
But
on the younger generation.
we have a lot of mess. Everything is, everything. Every sphere of life, pick it up and pick and see.
Yeah,
There
you're
is a
right.
lot of
And that's
mess
the
in
test.
everything. From where we
That's the
start?
test now, isn't it, Sister Shama? We've neglected it so long. Now Allah Ta'ala has said, look at what you've done. What are you going to do about it? Isn't it? We have to do our
Yeah.
bit. Every one of us has to do our bit and care for each other.
People ask me sometimes from where should start, from where we should start, because everything is a mess.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I try to tell them that start within yourself.
Mm. Sure.
Then the journey will start, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakah when we start to know ourselves, and then we will understand others, and by knowing ourselves we can be united.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So the first step is FIT. That's exactly, I think, Subhana, when I remember when Sister Faida wanted to form VOTP, we wanted to, start there at, accountability from leaders, right? Writing petitions, and you were demanding accountability from UN. But then we have to, Sister Faida had to track back all the way to the root cause and then come to the step number one, and that's FIT, actually. That's step one. Yeah, and step one and unity. So the two things at this time, focus right now. Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala give us courage and persistence to keep on the right path, inshallah.
Ameen. Ameen, ya Rabbi. Ameen. Inshallah, then we will make dua and make a close. أعوذ بالله من
Yeah.
الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والأسر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاك الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alaikum
Wa
salam.
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Jazakallah khair. Sister Faida, I will appeal all my brother and sister that please start doing some charity in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your Yemen brothers and sisters.
Sure.
And inshallah we can make a difference. Even we start with the smaller amount, but united we can make a difference.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Yes.
Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair.
جزاك الله خير.